everybody. This is Neil Hammond with Goldspring Consulting, and welcome to Goldspring Consulting's Reflections. So today I'd just like to briefly comment on an article that I saw in BTN yesterday, and I'll just show that to you, the headline. And that is ATPco commits to dynamic airline offers. And my first thought was that this was dynamic pricing, which the airlines have been talking about recently. But it turns out not to be. It's about the ability to create fares on the fly, as it were. So what does that really mean? So let's just think about how we purchase air today and how we might purchase it through different channels. So I'm just going to show you an Expedia screen here. So if we're going through a booking tool that uses the GDS, once we've selected the airline and the flight that we're on, we're going to see a number of attributes that this particular flight and this particular fare would include, and we can see that how much bags we've got and how much it would cost to buy a first check bag. Although we can't actually make that purchase at this point, we can see whether it's refundable or changeable. We can see that the seat choice is included, but we can't do anything about those seat choices or expand them or upgrade at this point. Why is that? Well, essentially, the airlines would have to, at the moment, under the current restrictions, the current way that ATPco works, is they would need to file a bundled fare with every single permutation of those options available, depending on what the buyer wanted to purchase. So today we're restricted to, obviously price and schedule, but we've made our selection, right? And we've got all the booking classes in there we could select, and all the fare classes, of which there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, even per flight. So you could imagine with all those permutations adding, do you want a flight that's got Wi-Fi on it, and because there's an upcharge for that? Do you want a particular seat type with a certain seat tilt or some area of the cabin? Or even perhaps, are they going to price differently the center, the aisle, and the window seats separately? Or could you imagine even we'd want to search for two seats together and they'd put a premium on that as well? So that's really what the airlines would have to do in the current environment, is essentially file a fare, every combination, every permutation of that. There are already, it's already an unwieldy amount, but essentially that would just make it impossible. So ATPco is committed to building the infrastructure where the prices, probably like the airlines do behind the scene, where those individual components can be priced separately, and then the fare is not filed until it is used the first time, which makes it interesting. And of course, as you can imagine, if there are 150 seats or 200 seats on a flight, then there are thousands of fares that are filed that are actually unused. So we'd just be filing essentially the fares that would be used or that have these permutations on there. So when is this going to happen? Well, it's going to happen and begin from 2026. That's when the commitment has been made to have this technology available. And ATPco is committed to make the source code for this technology available and transparent. And that's good news for everybody, because that means that anybody else in the value chain, and we just have to think about the value chain at the moment. And if we look at all the components of the value chain that are going to need to have to replicate and pass through this technology before it gets to the end user, we can see we've got the mobile or the online booking tool, the TMC, the GDS. They're all going to have to replicate to be able to handle how these fares are filtered and combined and offered. So they've made that source code available. So what is it going to mean for the buyer too as well? So the one area I would think about be in the case of lowest logical fare. And today, most programs have in their policy a lowest logical fare set of parameters which are built into the way that the TMC agents will search for a fare and the way that the online booking tool can be configured to search for a fare. And those may include parameters such as the departure time window, the connections, the airports, the refundability, preferred carriers, etc. Now we would have to include into the policy considerations and define what the policy is for searching right? Even just for searching Wi-Fi, seat preference, leg room, and all the types of leg seats available, maybe power outlets, maybe entertainment options, and we would have to build that into the policy just for what defines the lowest logical fare travelers are allowed to search for in their itinerary selection process. So that's what we're going to have to be thinking about in a few years' time. Very interesting. Thank you very much, Donna, for the article. Enjoyed reading it and hope to see you again on Gold Spring Reflections very soon. Thank you.